Hey everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to the blog. I just did a whole series of giveaways on Snapchat, so make sure you follow me there. It's Dan Sfera, just like my username here, on Instagram, and then through YouTube as well. So probably 10 people or more got some kind of free gift from me. None of them at all related to clinical research, just cool stuff. Alright, so make sure you follow me in all those places and subscribe. I've been really big on Snapchat lately, so make sure you subscribe there. And let's get into these questions, alright? So this one says, "Hey Dan, I'm getting ready to meet with my study coordinators and would like some benchmark data on issues such as number of studies per coordinator, amount of dollars or revenue each coordinator should bring to the business. Can you direct me to a place to find such?" No, there is no place. There was a time where CenterWatch was the closest publication to having these kind of statistics for the research industry, but I'm not sure they do anything like this. This is pretty detailed. This is pretty specific to not just clinical research sites, but study coordinators. So to answer your question, the way I've always done it and the way that a lot of my colleagues have done it and the way I advise my clients on doing it is roughly no more than 5 to 8 studies per study coordinator, and 8 only if some of those studies are relatively easy. And I know that's somewhat subjective, but phase 4 studies are often pretty simple. They just involve some surveys that the patients fill out, and literally that's it. 5 real studies, I would say. And a real study, I mean something that pays around $800 per study visit, right? And so that's my first metric is I would go 5 studies for a coordinator on average is a good metric or benchmark, at least I think. Now, dollars each coordinator should bring to the business, it's a lot more complicated because I use a metric profit per study, and a lot of my clients who I'm helping them out with their business plans, which I personally don't believe in anyways, but a lot of them have investors who insist on having business plans. So the metric I use for this business ever since I started was, and the only one that makes sense to me, is profit per study. So some coordinators will just randomly be assigned to a study that happens to be the most profitable, and you won't know necessarily which study is the most profitable until you at least see the contract and budget, and you can get a general idea once you see the protocol of whether you think you're going to be bringing in a lot of revenue for that study. If you can predict those things, then I would put your best coordinators on those studies that are going to produce the most profit, and your other coordinators on the other studies. And a lot of sites accept studies for no other reason than to get selected for other studies by that same sponsor or CRO. So on those studies, I mean, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can put your most experienced coordinator on those studies. The idea or the rationale behind that strategy would be, let me put my best coordinator on this study, even though it's not the most profitable study. I wanted to get more studies with this sponsor, so I want my coordinator working on it. On the flip side to that coin, and the opportunity cost is, well, you just removed this experienced coordinator from your most profitable study, so you may not be maximizing the profits to your full potential. So try to find some balance. I mean, that's why I really believe in having crossover training amongst coordinators. So having backup coordinators, maybe having your most experienced coordinators be QA, have a quality assurance role on the studies that you're working on with brand new sponsors that you're trying to impress in order to get more studies. So this way you kind of have the best of both worlds. You still have them maximizing your most profitable studies, and you're not losing out on opportunity costs there, but you're also not neglecting the studies that may not be as profitable, but you're doing in the hopes of impressing the sponsor to get more studies from them. So I don't really look at metrics of how much profit a particular coordinator is bringing in. It's not as simple, it's not black and white. Business happens in the gray. But what you can get very specific on is profit per individual study, and then arrange your resources accordingly and prioritize your studies in order of profit and then in order of importance to you and your company as a whole for whatever reasons those may be. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes those decisions are not determined by profitability. They might be determined by your ability and your need to impress that sponsor, to attract more studies from that sponsor. So a lot of factors go into this. The one metric I'm comfortable with and I've ran my businesses on is profit per study, right? Hopefully that helps. Crossover, make sure your coordinators are crossed over, meaning that means they are trained on other protocols that they're not necessarily the primary coordinator on, because guess what? Coordinators leave, coordinators get sick, coordinators resign, coordinators get fired. A whole number of things can happen, and even if none of those things do happen, you still need quality assurance going on, unless you want to do that yourself. So it's always best to have coordinators cross-trained on different protocols. All right? Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Make sure you follow me on Snapchat. I do daily giveaways on there as well. Username Dan Sfera. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.